Good morning, good morning. Good morning, good morning. I hope this works. Good morning. I have my iPad on. It's plugged in, but it's only 10% energy in it, and I guess to do this live stream might require more energy. Uh-oh. So I hope it's not going to cut itself off. Yes, good morning. This is Spirit Journey. Today is October 20th, 2021, and the time right now is 5:37 a.m. I have my monitor over there. That's what I'm looking at. Yeah, I hope your day is going well. Yeah, this first time I slept out in the living room today, and I woke up early watching videos, and I said, hey, I want to do a video. Yes, I was watching um, some stories. I saw several things, um, and I think it's all connected. In this the description of this live stream, that's my little dog down below. Yeah, the first story I saw was about um, human trafficking of children in New York State, about a 45-minute ride up north. And they showed the headlines in the New York Post. And yes, one of my favorite YouTubers was doing a story about it. And he's like an investigative reporter, and he lives not too far from here. I like his channel. And he took a ride up north, Westchester County. And yeah, I'm just learning about that story. Here, the newspaper here in New York City, okay, New York City is a very, very big city. I live in the heart of the city. And there were newspapers. People used to read newspapers. I wasn't into reading the newspaper, to be honest. I didn't like the bad news. But you couldn't help but see the headlines. And the New York Post is a newspaper, daily newspaper, and they're known for their titles that grab your attention. And they had a very provocative cover, on the headline on the newspaper, and it 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 was very wow. So this YouTuber took a trip up there, and he has his camera, and he's doing a live stream on the facility. Now there's some. It seems that a lot of the trafficking, and trafficking of children specifically, the trafficking of young children. Why is it that these religious organizations somehow always seem to pop up? Yeah, yeah. I mean, what religion you're into, if it serves you, you serve it. Um, yeah, I no longer go to church, but I am interested in spirituality, whatever what that means. Um, but it got me thinking. It got me thinking about a lot of things, and from that video, um, it led me to another video about this millennial, a guy, and this story about this, what they call the millennials, um, came out 3 years ago, and this is also up, around the same neighborhood, not too far. Um, but I'm not trying to link that what happened to this millennial. Uh, so he'll be 33 now. At this time he was 30. Not to link that this child trafficking in him, but I want to try to link together the social repercussions of one event human trafficking, whether they're children or adults or women, and the millennials. And I think that they are both connected. They both influence each other. And so, yeah, so you have child trafficking. And there was an incident, also, what was it, about a week ago. There was a report I saw over YouTube. Again, I don't have a TV, but I get all my news from the internet. I'm a YouTuber. I love watching YouTube videos. And much of my news I get from YouTube. Um, yeah, there was a kidnapping in Haiti. Again, now I was told in Haiti that kidnappings are very common, um, because they use the people for ransom. They get, yes, hello YouTuber, hello viewer out there, yes. Um, yeah, people are kidnapping in Haiti to use the people for ransom to get money. They're desperate for money. They said the gangs are primarily doing this. But this recent kidnapping, it was about, what was that, about 20 people, 20, 30, between 20 and 30 people, I forget the exact number. I know 5 of them in the group were children, and the rest were missionaries. Now, the word missionary to me for me, it's like a 4-letter word that I don't like. For me, the word missionary, not to get confused with mercenary. Yeah, someone got confused once between missionary and mercenary. Mercenaries are professional, like the military people who are hired, like military, and they're to do things, killings. While missionary are people from the church, and they work on behalf of the church, and then to spread their philosophy, And historically, they were used, I guess, like a mercenary. And if you didn't agree with their religion, they go, X you out. So it's interesting, I didn't know I was going to talk about that, like that. But yeah, so a mercenary and missionary could overlap also. So, so yeah, this story they're marching. You have this thing in Haiti, and the kidnapping of about 20 people, 5 of them kids, and what country are they? I think they're from the U.S. I'm not sure. Those of you who know out there, what country? Were they from the U.S.? These people were kidnapped. I forget where. But you hear the thing about Haiti. Like sometimes the news leaks out things, and you hear they had the earthquake and the hurricane, and then you have these workers, these people, religious institutions, or on the guise of religion, they go there, and they want you to think that it's aid that they want to provide. But it just seems like, okay, now, in some of the incidences, the kids had families, and so why are they taking children, and then trying to cross the border in the Dominican Republic? They got caught, and I think the Dominican, so the police arrested them, but they got off because they're friends of the former president, the Clintons. And this person somehow gets a job later on, with children. I don't know. It just, you get arrested for smuggling kids out, even though the kids have families. It's like you have opportunists that are going, and on the surface, see, you're going to hear that term a lot here. Surface, the veneer on the outside, it looks like one thing. They want you to think it looks like one thing, but it's something else happening. And why all this interest in Haitian children? No, I'm not trying to disparage Haitian children, but just the rumors that you hear out there in social media, the organ harvesting, and a lot of these Haitians, they have, the pure bloods, pure African blood, and the melanin in our bodies is what's being harvested, according to some people. I didn't know that. Here in New York City, there are a lot of Haitians, and they use a lot of the Haitians for being people who clean up your house, doing cooking, things like that. And there's a truck. There are trucks. There's trucks that go out to Long Island, New York, and send the Haitian people out there. Oops. I have my computer. I'll just leave it off. Yeah, I have a monitor on. It's turning itself off. I'll just leave it off. Yeah, just remembering. Yeah, they're trucks. And I remember one time it got in an accident, the truck, and they discovered these migrant workers from Haiti. They basically, in New York City, they basically keep it very low profile. They're quiet. And, the parents seem to be very hardworking. Yeah, I had gone out with someone, this guy from Haiti. Yeah, I think the aunt, yeah, he lived with his aunt and mother. They arrived first, the parent, and then he came, and he lived with them. Yeah, they supported him. He got through college. Yeah, got a nice fancy car. So many of them that come here, they use the opportunity to try to better themselves. But anyway, I wasn't going to talk about with Haiti, but I'm just remembering about that, and that there was a truck, and they send out these new arrivals from Haiti, and there's a bus that sends them out to Long Island to clean up people's homes, things like that. But this thing, this newspaper, the New York Post, that headlined about these kids being trafficked to this religious institution. They did not say where the kids were from. They didn't say. It would be interesting to find out where these kids are from. I remember a couple of weeks ago, like 1 or 2 weeks ago, at least on the YouTube, they had this crisis at the Texas-U.S. border. And what was that? I think at one point it was 100,000 people, primarily from Haiti. How, and I asked myself, how does 100,000 people, like first it says about 11,000 people, and then boom, where they're coming from? Well, the report initially said that 10 years ago, when it was a big earthquake in Haiti, that many of the people left and moved to Brazil and this other place in Central America. But the question still asks, Why they're leaving now? Like not when you have 100,000 people within 1 week arrive. Did all those people arrive from Central and South America, or or are they coming from Haiti itself? But either way, how do you travel all the way from Brazil? They didn't say what part of Brazil. Well, from all the way from Brazil, they would have to go through all of Central America, then enter into Texas, Mexico, and then get to go. I mean, it's hot. Where did they get their food? And some of them had a lot of babies. They were carrying babies. How could you travel with a young child like that through? It's a lot of jungle, and then they get through a desert, and they look very clean. They had smartphones. They did not look like someone that just trekked a couple thousand miles. I mean, for me to just walk maybe 2 miles with my little dogs, I'm wiped out. There's something that's not being said. That's what I'm getting at. There's something that's not being said. And anyone who's in need, it's sad. I wouldn't want to be in that situation. I know what it's like to needing a place to live. And I think that's also why I'm doing this live stream. Because the video I was watching about the Millennials. Okay, so you have this trafficking of people, primarily their children and women that are being trafficked into the U.S. And I thought in the U.S. and around the globe that there was an epidemic, okay, that starts with the C word and ends with the letter 9. Yeah, I don't want to say that word because, my videos have been pulled, and then they banned me from YouTube for about a week. So I can't say certain things. Yes, good morning, YouTube viewer. So what else? So you have this epidemic, but this epidemic doesn't seem to be slowing down human trafficking. Or is this pandemic, is the pandemic just a cover story to hide something else? I hope that the audio is good. Please let me know if you can hear the audio, because my device is a couple of some distance away, so I hope that you can hear me. So if the audio is good, you can type a 1 that you can hear. So anyway, I thought this was supposed to be a pandemic. And want everybody, okay, great, thank you. Who is that? Okay, okay, 7, Pyramid 7, okay, thank you. So I got my glasses. I have my glasses on right now, good. Yeah, it's my monitor. Oh, pop back on. Okay. Yeah, what's that? A, okay, yeah, thanks. So, so what's going on? See, I think you have people who are opportunistic, and they'll use earthquakes, hurricanes. Yeah, my little boy, he's been barking a lot. Yeah, three little dogs here, and periodically you might hear them bark. One of them is right next to me. Let me lift up her so you can see Lily. This is my girl, Lily. Okay, that's Lily. And my little boy is over there. He's walking over. Yeah, he's a watchdog. Any noise, man, he's barking. Yeah, it's been a lot of activity in the building. The past 2 months, he's been barking and everything. Very, I don't know why. I've had him for over 8 years, and he wasn't like this. What's that? I'll leave my class about. Yeah, yeah, thank you, Seven. Yeah, and my other little girl, she's behind me. Yeah, so periodically you might hear them bark or something like that. So I let you know ahead of time. Um, yeah, so things happen for a reason. And you, again, you have opportunistic individuals who will take a situation, a natural disaster, to do what they really want to do. And I think this pandemic's also used to cover illicit activities. That's just me. That's what I think. Um, so yeah, you have the human trafficking, and you have that YouTuber that I mentioned who um, is investigating the headline that the New York Post, it's a newspaper that comes out here in New York, about some activities happening at this religious institution. And you notice also that it has like a statue, it always seems to have a child and an adult. And what that reminds me of is Boys Town, I think that's in Nebraska. There was a very infamous incident. It's called what's that? Oh, I forget the name, but it happened in Nebraska. It's called Boys Town, and you had someone that worked at someone from someone who's associated in the White House, and he was involved with this taking primarily young boys and trafficking them to the White House, to the United States Capitol. And they interviewed some of the victims. Yeah, and then they just discard them. They've been violating these young boys. Yeah, boys are trafficked too. Children, whether it be boys or girls. And you have perverts in D.C. And they traffic them to all other locations. How do they, what confuses me, how? Thank you, Period 7, yes. We got smart viewers here. Omaha, Nebraska, Franklin, the Franklin cover-up is called. Thank you, 7. See, I have smart viewers. I may not get a lot of people watching my live stream, but I have essential people that watch my live streams. And they have good information, you know. Thank you, yes. So what happened? They were trafficking these kids for years. They get them from the boy. Yeah, they set up a whole community. It was like a religious institution. Yeah, thank you, Seven. On the guise of religion to help the children. And they were collecting these kids from who knows where. Young boys. Called it Boys Town. And they had a mediator. It was this black fellow, a Republican. No, I'm not against black Republicans. I'm not a Republican. I don't belong, and I've never been in any political party. But they had him as a cover. And but why I mention is that see, everything's connected. What could happen? And yeah, I'm saying it. They're using all types of people as cover. Now, the recent cover seems to be using so-called minorities / black people to cover illicit activities. And if you uncover it, they're going to say you're a racist. You're speaking up because you're racist. You don't like such and such people. But they purposely put that person in there because if you question it, you'll be deemed a racist or bigot. I'm exposing it. I don't like people using me, play me for a fool. You sense it in your body. You sense it that something's not right. And they're doing it. I hope it doesn't go off. I have to be careful because sometimes what happens, an echo, something from the device comes out, it's being tapped into my device. Yeah, it's going through Wi-Fi, and things could attach itself through Wi-Fi, your live stream. So it sounds like something is being happening. So if we get cut off, I'm saying it ahead of time, that's what's happening. That something is tapping into my device, and it like an echo. Usually I have the head, the earphone on. See? Oh, okay. But it's not charging right. It's not charging right. I mean, it's plugged in right now. Brother, I better hurry. Yeah, oh, brother, I don't want. Okay, it's on 5%. It's not charging right now. Let's see. It's not charging properly. Yeah, let me hurry up, because it could cut itself. That's what's happening. Okay. Um, it might be. Okay, let me just hurry. Yeah, so they want to cover their story. They want to cover their trail. So they get and place these people in positions, and if you question it, they're going to use the race card or something like that. Something. So the Franklin cover-up is called. They were kidnapping taking kids from this foster home or something like that, and then sending them in buses and stuff to the White House for them to sexually violate them as male prostitutes. And so this New York Post thing, okay, they discovered this thing happening with trafficking in this pretty neighborhood. What do you call it? A good neighborhood. It's like 40 minutes up north from here. But trafficking, and what blew my mind about it is that you have the veneer, the cover, in this beautiful looking suburb, and God forbid if someone like myself go there, they'll send the police to investigate you while you're in their neighborhood, right? But yet in their neighborhood, they're bringing in a lot. Yeah, I know of people that live up in the Westchester neighborhood, Westchester area, near there, and Rockland, all those areas there. There's like 45 minutes up north. And yeah, nice area. It's a suburb, nice homes and everything. But they have a lot of human trafficking in those areas. A lot. Why is that? Well, they're going to clean your home, take care of your kids, cheap labor. So we're just because I have to hurry because the time, the battery's running low. It's not charging well, even though it's plugged in. How is that linking with the millennials? Because I also indicated my title about millennials and human trafficking. I was watching a story that came out 3 years ago that I guess because of the trafficking, for whatever, maybe suburb, some keywords, and it referred me to this video. A 30-year-old man living with his parents, and he got evicted from his parents' home. He lived in his parents. He had left home. He came back home at the age of 22, and he stayed there rent-free for 7 years. So now he was 30. This report happened 3 years ago, so he was 30 at that time, and you almost think it's funny about his situation. He's called a millennial, and he looks older than he. I may have to show it. Hope I can. Okay, that's the dude on the right. He's 30 years old. Doesn't he look old? Yeah, he's 30 years old. So he's not, yeah, so what happened in this situation? Um, he had gotten a girl pregnant. It was some custody thing. So he's like, okay, 22 years old at the time, and he has a kid with this lady. Um, and he lost custody. So he comes back home. He wanted custody of the kid. The parents and they said, sure, it's going to take a long time, the custody thing, blah, blah, blah. They were understanding. But listen to his story, um, I wouldn't want him to live here with me. No way. Um, some things about him is, yeah, his name is, let's see what his name, Michael Rotondo. Michael Rotondo, it says here. Um, yeah, he lost a job. Yeah, he used to work. Um, he loses his job because they wanted him to work Saturdays. He couldn't work Saturday. And so Saturday was his only time to be able to see his kid. So I feel for him. He had a newborn. He his girl, his former girlfriend, whatever, they weren't married. Doesn't want him near, whatever what the situation was. She didn't want him around. But I feel for that situation. Sometimes people use children or babies, whatever, as a weapon against their partner. And if it was a woman who lost custody, everybody would be sympathetic. So I was initially sympathetic to a situation because I know of women, I know of women who shared with me, this woman had shared with me that she was she was a white woman from an affluent community in Chicago, Illinois, and the husband made the money. Okay, they'll be like in their 70s or 80s now, this woman. Yeah, I met her, she was like in her 60s when I met her. She became homeless. The husband had, control of the purse. He had control of the money, so he got lawyers to represent himself. The woman, the wife, they were married, had no money. She's old school. Back in the day, women stayed at home, took care of the kids, and man worked. Well, what if you live with, a husband who is malice? Say, I'm going to take the kids from you. I have the power to do it. And he did. She became homeless and alcoholic. So my understanding is based on different people who I've met in my past, women primarily, and what happens to women when you don't have money or power or influence. So here you got a guy who gets a girl pregnant. He loses custody. He had a job, but the job wanted him to work on Saturday, but Saturday's the only day that he could see his kid. And sometimes the court system is designed to keep men away from their children. Because again, they want to destabilize society. See, everything's related. Things just don't happen because it just happen. It's a social system, and it's social engineering. And so, yeah, okay, you have a young 22-year-old. Okay, it's starting to disconnect. That means the power is really getting lower. Yeah, so what could happen? How is this connected with human trafficking? Well, this guy can't find a job. He's not able to work certain days because the only time he has is with Saturday. A lot of these entry type jobs, you have to work weekends. So now they're bringing in, New York City has a lot of people, a lot of new people. And I had gone to this, I had visited someone once, and I had to take a bus. And I took a bus, like a 2-hour ride. And on the bus, all these people, and my instincts were, all these people on the bus were newcomers. And nothing wrong being a visitor uh, from another country here. But it was my instincts, what it's telling me, just part of human trafficking. Not only just coming into New York City, they go into all the surrounding boroughs, counties, all over the New York tri-state area. So it's New York, Connecticut, New Jersey, all these people. And, they're also coming into Hawaii. I used to live in the state of Hawaii. How the people from Central America get all the way to the state of Hawaii? It's a big ocean. There are more illegals / human trafficking. There are more illegals in the state of Hawaii than American blacks. I said again, there are more illegals in the state of Hawaii from Central America than American blacks. American blacks are not like that, but they don't bother the people from Central America. They're allowed to work. I worked at a job when things were economically very challenging for me in Hawaii. So I have some compassion for this dude, this Michael Rotondo, about this work situation and the stress that can happen. They kind of like mock his story because he does sound problematic, immature, because he was living rent-free for 7-8 years. And his parents said, you gotta go. And they had to go to court, and the court did say, yes, you gotta leave. So, and listen to him, he really, immature. But he probably left immature. Yet, see, people are now, especially with this COVID, it's affecting education. It's going to affect a lot of things. See, everything's connected. Using the pandemic as a cover for the human trafficking, all this stuff happening, but you're still bringing in people. So what's the problem? If it was a real pandemic, they wouldn't be having this trafficking. See, they know that it's not a real problem. Yes, there are people who got sick. Yes, primarily those people 65 and older and with what they call co-mortalities. They're already sick, very sick, But they want to play it off as a serious health issue. And it's not. But getting the jibby jab is a problem and is causing people to become infectious because of the jab. But either way, everything's connected. So you have a false pandemic, continue to bring in people from countries, but then these new people don't have to be vaccinated. They don't have to show a proof of vaccination to come in this country. That's a problem. They're going to say people like myself and you who are born and raised here have to show proof of vaccination to go into a restaurant to eat. But yet you're bringing in people from other places who aren't vaccinated, don't have to show proof of vaccination, but they can go work in people's homes or work in a factory and all this other stuff. Human trafficking. See, everybody's worried about getting sick and not watching the border. And then if you question what's happening in the border, see, they purposely bring in the Haitians because it's the black card again. The black card is being used with this human trafficking thing. Because if you say anything about the Haitians coming in the border, how did 100,000 people get there? And they look clean. They got a phone. You have to pay your bill, your phone bill. How is this? Who's sponsoring them? They're being sponsored. They're not who you think they are. It's just like, remember last year or the year before when they had what they call the migration? Yeah, well, I think it was last year. Remember that? Did that stop? How come the Haitians didn't come then? But you had all these people from Central America coming in. Hello. See, when one crisis didn't work, getting the brown people in across the border, the southern border, that wasn't enough. So now they're going to use the black card and to get them there to get attention because it's an agenda. Everything is about agenda. It's not about race. People couldn't care less about, about race and all that. People use what they can use to distract you from what's really going on. Human trafficking of children and women. But where else are they going to? But either way, so how does it link with that guy, Michael Rotondo, the now 33-year-old, who I don't know what his situation is now, whether he was staying in Airbnbs. So the millennials now have to compete with these people who are being trafficked into the U.S. And I did mention a few seconds ago that I used to live in Hawaii, and I had to compete with people who were trafficked in the state of Hawaii. I worked in I worked many industries in my lifetime. And in Hawaii, I came to Hawaii to do or work in restaurants. I had graduated from a baking school. I got my certificate in pastry arts. I learned the whole field of baking and pastry making, desserts. It was a good program. So I go to Hawaii. They have a strip where you have hotels and restaurants. I said, because New York City wasn't working for me. I couldn't find work in my field. So I was forced to leave New York City, and I felt if I go to Hawaii where it's warm, because I'd lost my job in the winter, and I cannot, when you've been, your hands freeze, it's hard to work. So I said, let me go out there in Maui and try to find work. I felt that, with the tourism there and everything, and the warm, it's warm weather and it's winter time in New York. Hey, you probably have a lot of tourists there, job opportunities. And so that's what the case was. But I needed money. I did land a job, and then I needed an additional job. So I was working 2 jobs, one full-time, and the other one was 19 hours a week. And I was even tempted to get a 3rd job. Well, I lose both of them. And what happened was they had me, they had another American girl, and then you had people from Central America, new to Hawaii. Did they have their papers? Who knows? But we were fired. The Americans were fired from the job. And I remember how these people they were from Mexico, and how they were smirking when I got my pink slip. And the person who hired me got let go. And she was on vacation at the time when they let her go. And I went to management and said, wow, so when is my last day? She hired me, and well, yeah, they let me go. I think about 4 days later, one by one, they started removing my things to work there. They moved the first thing they moved was the refrigerator to store the desserts, and then they removed something else from a workstation, and then finally, when I came in, my card to check in for the day, to sign in, my card didn't work. And he said, oh, yes, come into the office. Okay, today should last, You're no longer employed here. I'm sorry. Yeah. So they lied about. I knew they were going to let me go. So yeah, my computer just went. Monitor just shut itself down. But yeah. So there is a connection. Human trafficking is all over, and I don't know how they got from Mexico all the way to Hawaii, which is in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. Who financed them going there? It's not a lot of black Americans that live in Hawaii. For one, it costs money for plane fare to go there. Very few blacks live there. About 1% of the population are American blacks. They have a lot of Pacific Islanders, though, and Asians that live in Hawaii. But now, my living, that happened about 20, let's see, I arrived there in 1998. And yeah, it's a lot of trafficking there. And I also worked with someone at a ladder job. About a year later, I found this other job. No, it was a couple of months after I lost my two jobs. Right after the holidays, the first week of January, I lost both in that week. It's very cyclic, when the tourists go back home after the holidays, they cut back. So I landed. I had to find another one. It's very stressful to look for work. Very stressful. And so I'm thinking back with the millennials today. See, that happened in '98. Where the human trafficking is even more severe in the U.S. And so where are the millennials, American millennials? What work are they? What work is there them to do? There's no work for them. Look in New York City. Yet, so you have people who are forced to stay at home with their parents. To just get a basic apartment is a lot of money in New York City. They can't afford to leave. So I listened to the story about this guy, Michael Votondo. It saddens me. I don't think it's funny. Yeah, the guy could do better for himself, yes. But the crisis that's happening now, the monitor, the crisis that's happening now to Americans, people who are here lawfully, you have to compete now with people from other countries who are undocumented because it's cheap labor. America has sold itself out. America has sold itself. It's selling its own people. It's selling them out via human trafficking. So here you graduate from high school. Where do you go for a job? The restaurants, they only want to hire people from certain places. So restaurants, what else? Yeah, all here in this area is all restaurant food places. So you probably have to get a government job, a civil service job, or you're forced to go into the military. Yeah, or a lot of these entry-level jobs, they don't want to hire Americans. They don't want to hire. And so you get depressed. You get angry. And now they're making the people, like the people here in this neighborhood, I don't know whether they're coming from one of the other boroughs and they're coming here. A lot of them, people from Brooklyn come here to Manhattan and hang out. But the men, the young black men, have some identity issues and dressing like women, and they're out of their mind. I don't know whether they're prostituting themselves. But that's what I see a lot of. I don't see, I very hardly see young black men um, who are just, regular. The people here, the blacks in this area, the drug addicts, the guys wearing, dressing like women, um, it's very sad. I'm not just saying to them, I'm not trying to poke fun. I'm not trying to poke fun. This is what I see. So it's like, excuse me, people are being separate. You don't see black and white couples, really. So our community is being infiltrated through this confusion. No jobs. Where we meet? Where could we meet one another? Well, with this pandemic, people have to keep distances. You can't now go inside a restaurant unless you have that pass. And if you don't want to get the shot, I'm not going to get it. I don't have it. But I'm hearing a lot of reports about it, and that it's this one report I heard that it had this um, they could assemble these nanoparticles. I know this sounds crazy. I know it sounds crazy, but they had a doctor um, being interviewed. She was given samples of those so-called medicine, and she looked under a microscope and she noticed that it had these things moving inside of it, these living organisms inside of it, and that what it looked like it was replicating itself, that pieces were coming together and informing this thing. Well, what are those things going to do in your body? I'm not going to take it. No way. So we have this. Either you take it or they're fired. Did you hear about the police in Washington State being fired? They're being fired. If you don't take it, we're going to let you go. So this is about, again, social engineering, telling American citizens and legal residences, for you to keep this job, you have to be vaccinated. And remember last year with the health workers, they were considered heroes. Now they're being told, you don't get the jibber jabber jab, we're going to let you go. They didn't need it last year, so why do they need it this year? And they're saying about what they call the variant. Well, what is the variant? Could it be the thing that's inside the so-called medicine that is being modified and reassembling in your body to put outlet? Yeah. So interesting that it it shut out then. What I was saying. But yes, everything's connected, and so whether you're a millennial trying to find work, um, it's all by design, and don't feel too bad. This what you're doing and everything, what life is happening, um, what's happened to you in life, is all socially constructed. It's not your imagination about work. Yeah, they don't want you to work. They want to stress you out, um, dividing families, and then they're bringing in people from other countries. And again, I am not anti-immigration, but if it's alleged pandemic and you're bringing in people and they're not required to get vaccinated or proof of immunity, but if you're American, you have to show proof of immunity, your card, to go in a restaurant and eat with your family. So the only thing I'm saying is that these crises are um, constructed to do exactly that, to cause division, fighting, and crises are exploited. So if it's a hurricane or earthquake or you know, they utilize these crises so you don't see what's going on. Human trafficking. And these people that are coming in are being used to destabilize your community, your neighborhood, the state you live in, and ultimately the country and the planet at large. Your people are migrating all over. People are being forced out of where they live. And I feel badly for the millennials. Because yes, you lived in the past 20 years under this, especially the last 15 years under the, I should say maybe 10 years, the social media, the FB, YT, IG, all these things. And so we depended on these devices for everything. All these things that are happening. Yeah, I see my computer, my other computer's on in the back, and I can see myself talking. Yeah. So all these things are happening to you. And it's to make you dependent and get hypnotized and not really think for yourself, or to think really surface. They want you to consume, consume, consume. You don't have to work, you don't have to do anything. And they don't want to hire you. And so then something happens. And in the case of this guy from 3 years ago, he doesn't have custody of his kid. He's not allowed to see his kid. He's his first kid. And it would upset anybody who is a new parent, and he just, acting the way he is. They're not really, kids aren't being supervised by their parents anymore. They're being supervised by social media. And it's all about illusion. Create an illusion. Create an illusion of wealth. Create an illusion of good looks. So you look at the women, the young women, everything's about beauty, beauty, beauty. The guys, what do the guys talk about? Oh, they're having the guys eating channels, those things where a mukbang, they go and they stuff themselves with this food. They're killing you. Why I'm mentioning this? They're killing you. They want you to kill yourself. Yeah. They get these fat Americans, right? Let's get these fat Americans to kill themselves. Yeah, the land of plenty, we're going to use that plenty to destroy yourself. So you notice they allow these channels where they overly consume food. Giant hamburger, giant pizza. They go to fast food restaurants and get takeout, and massive calories, 10,000 calories, 20,000 calories. This one guy did a challenge of a 100,000 calorie challenge. These young dudes, because everything's a joke to them. Everything is a joke to them. And yes, they're making a lot of money on YouTube, right? They're making a lot of money. And, well, you can't live that long. I mean, it's like those people, like you have people who are bulimic. They eat a lot of food and then they throw it out. They don't live that long because it burns the esophagus. They get cancer of the throat, right? They get all these things that happen to them. People, you don't realize that you're being murdered, and they're using your own hand to do it. So they're bringing in these human trafficked people to take away your job. So that the people just starting out now, people like who just graduate from school, from high school, there are no jobs for them because they get the human trafficked people. And I worked in industries where that happened. They bring in a white truck from New Jersey over to these jobs in downtown Manhattan. Yeah, I used to work downtown Manhattan. Right after the 9/11 thing happened, yeah, they get this white truck. They don't even speak English. And they bring them in to work these jobs. Right after the 9/11 thing, with those buildings downtown. And you had a lot of displaced people looking for work, people who were displaced from their homes, who lived in the area. And I was forced to get a job down there because the situation I was in, I needed a job. And I knew the risk because, yeah, it was directly across the street from all that melee. And yeah, I got sick. Yeah, I had developed these lump in my throat. Yeah. Yeah, I was let go. Yeah, I got sick twice. Yeah, I needed that job. So, yeah, but there at that place, you had people, most like undocumented, the white truck from Jersey, and it was a white truck that, those, the dancing Israelis. Something about New Jersey, I don't know. I mean, anything can happen in any state. I shouldn't make fun of that place. Yeah. But yeah, the everything is connected. We are all connected. So they use these tragedies or these staged events to cause confusion and fear. Then they bring in trafficking people in. It's supposed to be a pandemic. You have the millennials who are forced to move back home. It's stressful for everybody because they don't want to hire you. And a lot of businesses closed down in New York City. Many of them. Many businesses fell out. So I just say, people, don't let them separate your family. I know it's hard for everybody. I know it's hard. It's hard. Don't separate the families. Somehow, let's all just try to keep it together. It's designed just to do what it's doing. Parents against child, child against parent. It's a social system. It's not just one person. It's the whole system that's being created. A system of confusion, fear. But we can do it together. We can overcome this. We can overcome this. The cops that are losing their jobs. Heard a whole bunch of them in Washington State losing their job because they didn't want to get the jab. The school system here in New York City, they're going to try to let you go. And I heard they're going to get some of the people from other countries, the Philippines. It's cheap labor. Cheap labor, that's all it's about. That's all what this is about. Let's bring in cheap labor and then destabilize the nations. It is about destabilization of a nation and it toppling America down. Just look at those YouTube. They get these young dudes, and even women. I even saw 2 women indulging that food. Masses of food. Just to get money. And then the guys, the black dudes where I live, dressing like women. But they're out of their mind. Drug dealing. That's what they want. They want you to take the poison pill. Don't do it. Don't do it. It's hard for everybody. Please don't do it. Don't get the jibber jab, because that's designed, I heard, to, if it doesn't kill you right away, within a 3-year period, I heard that the things, the nanos, combine, they have, what do you call it, the spike proteins in it, that slowly start to eat away your capillaries, so you bleed, and you bleed to death. What do you call it? You get blood clots. It's a war. It's a war against the planet, against you. And once they get all these human trafficked people, probably, taking their organs, they're organ harvesting also, sex trafficking, organ harvesting, etc., right? And once they are through with them, they'll discard them all. They're going to discard you. Just like they're discarding the health workers. Last year they were all heroes. Now they're saying, we're going to get rid of you. You don't get the shot. And we'll replace you with people from the Philippines, military. Yeah? Say enough is enough. Enough is enough. Say no. Stay close to your family. If you have family, if you can stay close to them if you can. I know that some families are toxic. If it is toxic, then don't go. But if you have good folk, stay close to them. You're going to need help. Okay? So with that, last thought, everything's connected. That's the message. Everything's connected. The human trafficking that I mentioned with the report on the New York Post newspaper that put light on this suburb in, I think, Westchester County. Human trafficking to those religious institutions there in a pretty neighborhood, but the human trafficking. Yep. So even those pretty neighborhoods, yes, it looks pretty. The veneer looks pretty, but it's poison in there. There's human trafficking in Long Island, New York. A lot of trafficking there also. They get these big white, they love those big white trucks, and they're bringing them there to clean your house, to do all these things, who knows. But now they're going to be used to displace you from your job. And no, this is not a rant against migrant workers, but it's what they're being used to do, to displace you. Just like I was displaced in Hawaii. They didn't care that I was a veteran. They didn't care that I had to stay afloat. I was trying to even find a third job. Yeah, so it's not about being lazy. It's about the system, what it's designed to do. Yeah. Thank you again for listening. It is what it is, but be of good cheer anyhow, because you have yourself. So, I have mirrors in my place here. You go look in your mirror and you say, you're okay, and we're going to get through this. Keep your body clean. Stay away from drugs and stuff like that. Don't get the shot, because that is going to get you. Okay? Yes. We can all do this together. Keep your eyes open and see how things are connected to other things. And you're going to see that there are things going on for a reason. And a lot of it is just smoke and mirror. Okay? But we're going to get through this. We're going to get through this. And then in the future you say, and you're going to write about it or talk about it, how you got through. Yes, we're going to go through. We're going to make it. I thank you again. Peace, love, and joy, and prosperity to you. We can do this together. Okay? Take care. Bye-bye.